Let's begin this little segment here. Bills knocking off the Patriots 24-21.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, the end of the football game, New England, that game in general, it's still a little sloppy on their side of the ball. I mean, there's just too many times where, New England can't afford to get behind the chains. And they had a few drives, in the end of the first half and third quarter and things like that where they get penalties. And once they get into second 20 and it's over and all those issues. But they still ran the ball successful. And when they run the ball successfully, it's going to be an ugly, close game. And I think they got the game kind of exactly how they wanted to. Here we go. We got the ball. Last drive of the football game. It's Cam Newton time. Yeah, he makes a few throws on the drive, but the drive was really about him, the run game and his ability to run, and, of course, the big fumble at the very end, which was a play that, one, they had already scored a touchdown with on Cam Newton's previous touchdown, and then, two, on that same drive, he ripped off, I'm going to say, a 12 or 13-yard run on basically the same run play. There was one little difference, but either way, yes, they got into a spot there where they're sitting pretty. I mean, you're going, uh-oh. I mean, here they go. He's going to have a chance to score a touchdown to win the game. He's in the shotgun. He's got Rex Burkhead to his left. He's got two receivers to his left, Paulie. The outside receiver comes in. They're going to run basically the old toss-crack play, right, where you toss it to the tailback, and then two guys on the outside block down, and you got some pulling linemen now that are going to go up and around that and lead the running back through the hole, except he's not tossing it. He's just taking the ball himself, and now he's got Rex Burkhead leading the way for him. He does a great job of waiting for his blockers, finding the hole, sees it there, and then makes the appropriate cut up to the hole, and he's going to have an 8-10-yard gain, whatever it may be. But I'm blanking out on big old 61's name on the Buffalo Bills. He hustles from the other side.
It's a fair state. That's what I remember.
Yeah, well, he hustles, and he makes a great play coming in full speed, throwing his big right arm up there and, ultimately stripping Cam Newton of the football.
It wasn't good enough to win, but it was much better than it was last weekend. The numbers, the production, they had a couple of touchdown drives, but they lost, and it was a pretty ugly game. More encouraged by the Patriots or just disappointed in what they've been doing here recently?
Yeah, and then my guy 61 was Justin Zimmer. Sorry about that, Mr. Zimmer, to blank out on your name there. But I still think with this particular game and everything like that, I still look at it and go, they might still have a say in this. I know they're 2-5, and it's looking dark. It's not looking good. But,
bottom half of the AFC East with right now Buffalo and Miami clearly ahead of them.
I know.
I think they'll be competitive at some point too, but I think they finished third in that AFC East. Do you?
I'm not sold on that yet. I'll say I'm not going to give up on them. I got to see more from Tua and everything there in Miami too. I mean, I can't expect Brian Flores and his defense to just crush quarterbacks and score defensive touchdowns every other play. So I'd like to see a little bit more there, and that's where I give them a fighting chance. And as you see too, when their run game goes, and even without Stephon Gilmore, their defense can be real good at stopping the pass. That's one thing. They are legit. There's going to be a few games that are going to be mismatches. They got to play the Ravens in a few weeks. How can the Patriots stop the Ravens run game? I don't even know how that's possible. There's no chance. So, they're going to lose that game, I expect. And then they're going to have to win just about every other game other than that here going forward. And I don't know if that's capable, but they are going to still be a pain in the butt going forward.
I want to bring it back into this game. The Bills knocking off the Patriots 24-21. A couple of questions from our friends. At Derek Rudolph says, comment on the Bills' ability to turn their pass-first offense into a complete ground attack for the win. Singletary and Moss rushed for 167 combined.
Yeah, that's where I give McDermott a lot of credit. Not banging his head against the wall going, wait, no, we're a passing team and, screw the elements and screw who we're playing. We're just still going to throw it because that's what we are. No, thank you. I mean, you don't always have to put the whole game on Josh Allen's shoulders. Other guys are allowed to help. And you're crazy when you play the New England Patriots if you don't try to run the ball on them. We've talked about it for the last 3 weeks. They don't have big people. They're not going to be able to stop the run against anybody. So you have to continue to stay patient with it. And then it was a real windy, crazy day. And when you get too crazy into the drop-back pass game play after play against New England, Bill's going to do some creative things where it's going to cause a mistake or a turnover that'll sway the game. So I think that's something that's at least positive here for Buffalo as of late. They've played 4 defensive coordinators who are pretty damn good ones that have been able to slow their passing attack. It's made them force a run game. The Chiefs, the Jets, this past game have forced them to run the ball a little bit more. And I think ultimately that will help them in the long run. But let me just say this. To me, the biggest part of this football game, it's 14-14. New England has tied the game. They have momentum for the first time in 3 weeks. They have something positive as an organization. And I don't understand this, and I'm sure he's got a better reason, but Belichick kicking the onside kick at 14-14 still is like dumbfounding to me. I don't get it. I don't. Your defense was playing well. You got the momentum. You kick an onside kick, and the momentum kind of gets squashed right there, and it goes right back to Buffalo once they recover it.
It's one of those things where if it works, I mean, are we still saying, boy, that wasn't very good logic?
No, I mean, you're right. I know. I get it. If it works, sure, yes. But if butts and candy and nuts, I don't know. I don't know what to say there. And, the big thing to me is, like I said, there hadn't been much movement on the offense. That was what? That was basically a start of the fourth quarter or late third quarter onside kick. And Buffalo hadn't really done much since the second quarter. Why let them off the hook? Why give them the short field to do that?
Good points.
I'm just surprised by it. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
I know he's the genius of all geniuses, Bill Belichick, and how dare I question him, but I was just surprised.
Well, I mean, this next question I asked now pulls away from that game a little bit and kind of speaks to this question people are talking about now between Belichick and Brady. Josh Love fan account says, is this Pat season showing us just how valuable Brady was? Did we overrate Belichick a bit, or is this mess of a team not his fault?
Yeah, well, I mean, the mess of the team is Bill's fault. He's the GM. COVID-19 hurt them. You can't run the NFL for 20 years straight. I don't know what everybody expects. At some point, they've kind of, where they fooled people is they got to retool their team in 2008, 2009, 2010, and they were still going to the playoffs, an AFC championship game, and then went to the Super Bowl in 2011. And that was just so rare that they were able to do that. And no, I don't think this speaks to anything of like, oh, now this proves that Brady's. Let's listen. How good would Tampa Bay be if Bill Belichick was coaching them? I mean, they're not even. New England's not even in the same stratosphere as Tampa Bay as far as talent's concerned. It's not even.
Sure.
If you took the 22 starters on both teams, I bet you'd have 18 or 19 Buccaneers players on the team and just 2 or 3 guys from the Patriots, maybe in the secondary, and 1 or 2 offensive linemen. The rest of the team is going to be all Bucs. So
sure.
I don't think it shows anything. Brady's doing awesome. New England's got a tough year ahead of them here. COVID-19 threw them off schedule. And listen, they're going to be set up very nicely for next year in the salary cap and those issues too. To where, let's not judge it all by just the first 8 weeks apart and see where this goes for years and years to come.
Right. That's a very good perspective. I think this is what a lot of fans are thinking. I watched the highlights this morning with my oldest son, and after the Patriots highlights, he looked at me and goes, so it was Brady all that time, huh?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's right. It's just I think it's where people's minds are.
Oh, it definitely is. Well, it's just it's the era we're in again, where it's always just quarterback.
Sure.
And so be it. Either way, Belichick and Brady were awesome together. You'll always hear me say Belichick was more important. I mean, that'll never sway in any shape, way, or form. I mean,
what sways you that way the most? What's the deciding part of that?
Well, let's just, all right. So the first, early in his career, it was defense and run the ball. I mean, Tom Brady won his first Super Bowl. He threw for 145 yards. He won the MVP. He threw for 145 yards, and 55 of them were on the last drive of the game. All right. Yes, he got better as time went, but think about all the great things. First off, there's more talent there on those teams than people ever want to talk about. That's all I ever hear. Brady didn't have anybody. I mean, that's bull. Troy Brown, Deion Branch, Daniel Graham, Ben Watson, Rob Gronkowski, greatest tight end ever, Randy Moss. The slot receiver wasn't even invented. You know who invented it? The Patriots, Wes Welker. Oh, the 2 tight end set, Aaron Hernandez and Gronk. We're going to run it. We're going to split them out. All those things are all schematical advantages that New England was always ahead of the times with. You know, even going from the first Super Bowl and then winning the second and third one, they were running and playing defense. The rules changed for the pass game. Belichick said, the hell with this. We'll start spreading it out. Let's throw it every play. You're not going to be able to play defense anymore with the way these rules are. We'd be stupid not to throw it. They did that. So Brady, awesome. I don't want to take anything away from him, but Belichick is on another level compared to just to any other coach I've ever seen.
Brady didn't even play this past weekend, Chris, and we find a way to work in some kind
He'll stoke it up tonight because he's going to tear the Giants up, and people are definitely going to be like, oh, man, it was all
right?
Brady in New England.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.